Hello everyone. Today we will be going over the fall risk assessment capture. My role as a data informaticist is to ensure that the workflow is captured in a useful manner. This involves making sure that the data is functioning properly and using tools at optimal levels. To provide a little bit of context or background of the issue that we're experiencing, there was a provider efficiency report that was built. This report captures all records except for the fall risk assessment. This causes concern of patient safety. Are these patients being screened? This issue is important because this affects our quality reporting. With our quality reporting being affected, this can also affect the way that incentives are given to providers, as well as our reputation. We can receive a lower grade in our patient quality care. The current workflow shows that the fall risk assessment is occurring under the provider, and the provider is entering the assessment in his notes. The issues found within this workflow is that the fall risk assessment is entered in the provider's notes. This is not an automated process. The nurse does not review the provider's notes. We can actually refer back here. The issue occurs here where the provider enters the visit notes including the fall risk assessment. The provider then secures his workstation. The nurse carries out the orders. The nurse does not review the notes. No one is reviewing these notes. Now let's move forward to the data capture. The current data capture is showing that over a 7-month period, they have 6,740 visits. From that, the completion rates vary. The fall risk assessment is showing a 0% completion rate. Issues found within the data capture. 0% fall risk have been captured as complete. Questionnaires have various completion rates from 0 to 100. And then here we're having an issue here. Questions that I have. Should the fall risk assessment be administered by the provider? What is the best practice for fall risk assessment administration? The reason why I have these questions is because we already are observing an issue. Do we have the best practice? If we are going to ensure that we are providing quality care to the patient. I also have this question if we refer back to the workflow. The patient seems that most of the time that the patient is being taken care of or seen or his visit, he's with the nurse. He's not with the provider. And if you look at the task, at the time he receives his fall risk assessment, he's been in the clinic for quite a while. This is an issue because it's a fall risk assessment. So he can fall within all of this time here, if we look. So if by the time we find out if he is a fall risk, it'll be too late. All right. So here's my first proposed solution, that we change the workflow. The nurse should be the one that's administering the fall risk assessment. This will empower nurse staff members. Nursing staff is around the patient for a longer period of time. This also can lower the burden on providers. Now, there is a con that is associated with this. This will change the workflow, and this change will require training. We have to ensure that nursing staff is comfortable with administering the fall risk assessment, as well as they're knowledgeable about it. What should they be looking for? The second proposed solution is to change the workflow to provider entering assessment using the questionnaire within the EHR. We can remove the fall risk assessment from entering notes so that it can actually be an automated process. Right now, as it is, just entering the fall risk assessment within the notes, that's not an automated process. That's in a free form. It's very hard to capture that. Also, we would like to include all ages of the patients. The reason being is that under this fall risk assessment, it only applies to patients that are 65 or older. So there could be a reason why we are receiving a 0% test or a 0% assessment. These patients could all be under 65. Highly doubt it, but it is possible. Here's the best option. Best option that I think, or I personally feel, is that solution number 1 should be given. This will empower our stakeholders. They are spending more time, these nurses are spending more time around the patients, and we will also have more continuity with the current workflow. If we refer back to the workflow, most of the questionnaires are given by the nurse. There's only one questionnaire that's given by the provider. If the nurse can provide all these questionnaires, I'm pretty sure they can fill out the questionnaire of the fall risk assessment. Okay. Improvement adoption. So now that we're changing the workflow, we want to avoid stakeholder pushback. We also want to assure that this is a low risk change, which it is. We want to also ensure that HIPAA regulations are followed, which it should be no problem. And this is reasonable. I don't think that this is something that is asking out of the norm. I think this is something that will be helpful to everyone. And we'll refer back to our to the conclusion of this, is the goal of this project is to improve patient care and empower our stakeholders. We want to make sure that we are a world-class organization that's giving the best care to our patients, and we also want to make sure that the people that we employ feel that they're contributing to the patient care fully. This is the best way. Thank you.